And the man of God goes, "You, sucker." That's the Ghetto International version. He says, "You will do it." I love this part of the story. Do you know why? Because the Bible says immediately they went out and he gathered together the young officers of the provincial commanders, 232 men. Yes. And he gathered the rest of his army, 7,000. Oh snap. 7,232 men against what we believe was over 200,000 enemy troops. Not good. And they went, and the Bible says the 232 immediately were summoned and marched out to battle. Ooh, I love this. Can you see my movie? It's going to be good. The historians tell us that when the armies would go out, these young officers led the battle. Do you know why we need this young generation? Do you know why they're necessary? Because they've never lost a battle. They've never been through what we've been through. They don't know what it's like to go without food. All they know is the minute they got saved, everything in their life changed, and they're willing to lay everything out on the line and fight for God's kingdom. They're ignorant. Ignorant to the attitude of the world. Ignorant to sin. And so when it's fighting time, they're going to go for broke. So the young officers, the provincial commanders, we know historically, marched out. And the men that stood behind them, the 7,000, they would take their shields and their swords and beat them together in syncopation as the young men would march forward. And the Bible says the 232 went forward and struck down their opponents. Bam! D-E-D, can't afford an A, dead. And the Bible says the rest of the soldiers are like, "Oh snap," and they start running. And they rout the enemy troops. And then they go after the chariots and the horsemen and rout them too. Wow. Ben-Hadad escapes on a chariot. And the Bible says that Israel won a great battle. But how many of y'all know the battle wasn't over? Let me ask you a question. How many of y'all ever won a spiritual battle in your life? How many of y'all know that the minute you start to fight it, you already won? I love what happens here. The Bible says right after this war took place that the man of God comes back. The prophet comes back. And this is what he says. Verse 22. "Strengthen your position and see what must be done, because next spring the king of Aram will attack you again." Again. 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 The enemy will keep attacking you again and again until you kill him. Oh, I'm about to preach. See, the enemy right now is under your feet. The devil is under your feet, gasping for breath, begging for his life. You have to make up your mind if you're going to kill him or let him go. If you let him go, he will be back. But we've got to do what must be done. We must be prepared. When we strengthen our position, see, if you read the King James, it says strengthen yourself. Feed yourself. See, some of us come to church. I love Wednesday night because I get fed. If an evangelist, a full-time preacher can get fed by our pastor, you can get fed by our pastor. But see, I don't come to church hungry. I'm eating all week long. And I've met some people that told me, "Oh, I left that church because I wasn't getting fed." I'm like, "What are you doing going up in there getting fed? You're supposed to go in there and get you a nice little, get you a little snack, get you something to eat, but you ain't supposed to go in there hungry. You ain't supposed to go in there hungry. Because the word that's coming off of the stage is supposed to be for those who have not yet learned to feed themselves. I come here already fed. And I come to agree with what I already know. See, it's real good when you're already full and it still tastes good. If it tastes good only when you're hungry, then it's not that good. I could talk about some restaurants, but I'm not going to do it. He said, strengthen your position. And the Bible says the king of Aram and his advisors got together. And this is what the advisors said. They said, see, let's go to verse 23. Their gods are the gods of the hills. That is why they were too strong for us. But if we fight them on the plains, surely, excuse me, we will be stronger than they. Do this. Remove all the kings from their commands and replace them with other officers. I can preach that, but I'm not gonna. You must also raise an army like the one you lost, horse for horse and chariot for chariot, so we can fight Israel on the plains. Then surely we will be stronger than they. He agreed with them and acted accordingly. The next spring, they started a fight. Check this out. The enemy of your soul truly believes that your God is the God of Calvary Christian Center altar. That your God is the God of the Ocean Center experience. That your God is the God of camp meeting this coming July. That your God is the God of Missions Week or Pentecost Sunday. But he doesn't understand that our God is not just the God of the mountaintop experience. Our God is the God of the daily experience. Our God is the God of the commute to work. Our God is the God of the workplace. Our God is the God of our schoolhouse. Our God is our God of our home. Our play. Everywhere we go, everywhere we put our foot, that ground is ours. Our God is not just the God of high mountaintop spiritual experiences. He's the God of the mundane encounter. And I only say mundane to include the thought that God is with us all the time. But see, you've got to prove that's true. Because on Sunday you look so good, but on Monday the devil sees another story. That's why some of y'all, he leaves you alone on Sunday. He leaves you alone on Wednesday night. He waits till Thursday. When you hit that ESPN or that HBO, he's right there. Hey. Because he's not just going to attack when it's convenient for you. He's going to come back in a situation he thinks he can overcome you in. That's why you got to feed yourself and strengthen yourself. As David encouraged himself in the Lord. I'm liking my own preaching today. Now next spring, the Bible says the king of Aram mustered his entire army, and they stood opposite each other at the city of Aphek. For 7 days they camped opposite each other, and on the 7th day the battle was joined. Now get this. This time the man of God comes to Ahab again and says, you see this vast army? Because they think that our God is only a God of the hills and not the God of the valleys. We're going to deliver this army into your hands, and all the world will know that I am is the God of Israel. Oh snap. They go into battle, and the Bible says after 7 days they start to fight. 100,000 enemy troops get slaughtered in one day. What? They pulled out ninja stuff. It was unbelievable. Now I always want to do this movie because I like action. And I just want to do this in a movie. I think it'll be hilarious. 7,232 men killed 100,000 men in one day. When I get to heaven, I want to meet number 99,972. I'm going to pop up in heaven like this. Hey, Jesus. Spent about 2,000 years with Jesus. Spent another couple $100,000 years with other guys, and you know, go look at my $200 million house and all that stuff. And then I'm gonna do this. Where is he? They'll be like, we know who you talking about. You're number 99,272. Man, what were you thinking, man? You just saw 99,000 of your friends die. Why'd you keep fighting? I don't know. Reminds me of those movies where you see like Bruce Lee, right? Bruce Lee is knocking people out. What now? What? Psh, psh. And people keep coming. What's wrong with them? I'm talking to the TV. Y'all know you talk to. Stop. That little boy gonna knock you the mess out. You just got knocked the mess out. It doesn't make any. If I could go in a movie, I'd be like, y'all just stop right now. You know that little boy gonna kill you. But they don't listen. They never listen. These people didn't listen either. And my movie gets better. Check this out. After 100,000 men died, check out the numbers. 7,000 killed 100,000 in one day. Mathematically, what is that, 13, 14 men each? Each man killed 14 men? I don't think I could kill one man in a day. Unless he took my Twinkie. Check this out. The Bible says they killed these 100,000 men. 27,000 were smart. They ran for their lives. Ah! Ah! And they run and they hide behind a wall. Do they see us? I think we're okay. You got some cookies? Yeah. All of a sudden, the wall falls on top of them and kills 27,000 more men. Watch out! This movie is gonna be awesome. Check out the scene. It's a beautiful white house with red shutters, red door. There's wheat blowing in the wind. White picket fence and a puppy. And all of a sudden, these cars drive up, a huge motorcade, stop in front of the house with flags flapping on their fenders. And a priest gets out, and some soldiers get out, and they walk up to the door. And they knock. A woman comes running to the door with her whole garb from baking, she's got the apron and she's wiping her hands, and she comes to the door and she goes, "May I help you?" The priest drops his head. The soldiers stand at ease. And he says, "Ma'am, I regret to inform you, your husband has fallen in battle." She falls to her knees in panic, fear, and dread. No! Not my Billy, no. And then she asks the question that we all want to hear. How did my Billy die? Soldiers at ease. No, I got this. Your husband was running for his life, and that fool got knocked out by a wall. Oh, snap! Oh, snap! See, that's my movie, y'all. That's my movie. Jerry Bruckheimer, if you try to steal it, boy, ooh, it's gonna be good. See, even the people like me that like to run, they lose. The battle is won, right? Come on, somebody say the battle is won. The minute you try to fight, the minute you strive out, the minute you decide and make up your mind. And as soon as they fought, they won. The enemy was routed. The Bible says that Ben-Hadad goes and hides inside a house in the city of Aphek. And this is where the twist happens. In my movie, the twist happens right here. Because the story goes sideways right now. Get this. The Bible says that the men that served King Ben-Hadad, they said to him, look, we've heard, verse 31, that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful. Let us go to the king of Israel with sackcloth tied around our waists and with ropes tied around our heads. Perhaps he will spare your life. Ben-Hadad goes, yeah, y'all go. And they do. With sackcloth tied around their waists and with ropes around their heads, they walk out to King Ahab as Ahab's riding by victoriously in his chariot. And they say, "Oh, king, your servant Ben-Hadad," he said, "please let me live. Please." See, some of y'all didn't even know that. The victory is ours, for the battle is the Lord's. The enemy is begging for his life. What are you going to do? This is where everything goes wrong. Ben-Hadad says, "Please let..." This is the guy that said, "I'm going to take your wife."